Hello, Orville Nation. Hello, Nerd TV. Gap Stargate, Corrine, Dega, Elihu, everybody. Luis Sparrow is with us. Lord Thoth is with us. Welcome, everybody. Benjamin. Welcome, everybody who's in here, guys. We're going to have a great chat tonight. Something very, very, very special treat. Hello, Positive Candor, Deji Sound, Parrot Head. Hello, guys. Yeah, we're going to have a great chat about a lot of cool stuff. It's going to be about the companion app. So we have Lawrence with us here from the companion app team. I'm sure some of you guys have seen Lawrence on maybe a stream or somewhere. And on the panel, we're going to bring in the panel. We've got Elihu and Fallon Reacts. So we're going to bring them in first. I want to remind everybody we have a Latchcom, a very, very special Latchcom later on tonight. I know COVID has been kind of has been made our streaming very irregular, but we try to bring things back to some kind of normalcy. So I want to just introduce the crew for the panel. And ladies first, I want to welcome Fallon. Hello, Fallon.
Hey. What's up?
Joining us today. What a special treat. Have you joined us?
Oh, yeah. I was actually surprised when you asked. I was like, what am I going to do today?
I've been meaning to ask you, actually. So I'm glad you could join us. And I want to by the way, just tell us real quick. And Fallon, I don't think you have a wrench to I will put your channel in. Tell us a little bit about what your channel's about, Fallon.
Okay. Fallon Reacts is just about me giving my reaction to entertainment, whether it's TV, movies, pop culture. I am planning on doing some giving my opinion on certain music, but it's supposed to give. I'm not going to repeat what everybody else says. All the big YouTubers say about specific movies, specific television shows. I do get a little bit of hate about it because I don't talk the party line. That's what it's about. I have a new series on the channel called Trust But Verify, where I watch quote unquote woke movies and television and give my opinion on, do I really feel like it's that? It's like, it's just giving y'all opinion. And I really try to press the whole trust but verify. You can trust that the content on my channel is my opinion, but you need to verify it for yourself to see if you would be interested in it. Because I'm not here to be your mom.
Absolutely. Well, listen, everybody, if anybody who hasn't subbed to Fallon, please do. And her channel's right there and in the chat. And awesome. And I want to bring in Elihu who. And ever since you came up with this combination of it's hard to say Elihu. Elihu who. Welcome, Elihu who. How are you, my friend?
He's muted.
Oh yeah, you're muted.
I'm just messing with you guys.
Oh my God.
How are you, Elihu? And tell us a little bit about your channel.
Well, I am doing good, and I am partially caffeinated on my 5th cup of coffee. So, and unlike a lot of people on YouTube, I do not do reviews of comic books, TV shows, movies, that sort of stuff. I do a science show every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific time called What's Up with the Universe. We talk astronomy, astrophysics, cosmology, that sort of cool stuff. And 99.998% of it is factual. The only disclaimer I have, non-factual, was the scene with the Klingons. It's like, what happened to Pioneer 10 probe? Well, my own speculation, William Shatner had the same idea. I played a little clip of the Klingons destroying Pioneer 10 from Star Trek 5.
Oh my god.
So our friend Elihu, just everybody, everybody, please sub to him if you haven't. And just to remind everybody, Elihu is also a comedian, and he's been with us from the beginning. And your support. It wouldn't be Orville Nation without Elihu.
Thank you, DJ.
I mean that. So I want to bring in the guest of the hour. The companion app is something that is new. It's wonderful. It's amazing. It's headed up by this amazing team. And I want to introduce Lawrence from the companion app. Lawrence, thank you so much for joining us, my friend.
Oh, it's great to be here. Hey, guys.
Hello.
Welcome, Lawrence.
And I'm just putting in, I want to make sure everybody is following the companion on Twitter. And I'm putting it in here. So you guys, everybody, please, if you're not following it, please do. And you're going to learn a lot more about why you should be following and why you should be subscribing to the companion. I have subscribed. I didn't doubt it for a second. I subscribed for the whole year. So, so Lawrence, I mean, what do you want to tell us? Can you tell us in a nutshell, before we get into, really details and stuff, what is the companion?
Yeah. We're kind of like in many ways an online magazine, a little bit of a hybrid of DVD extras as well. Basically, when we used to work on Stargate Command, which was the MGM kind of freemium membership platform. And unfortunately, when MGM, and the service shut down, some of our writers, some of the different Stargate fans were wondering, well, what's going to happen? Where do the quizzes go? And they kind of shifted everything to YouTube, which is totally fine. But I think Stargate Command was so much more than just, just some of the videos and some comments. And so we thought, why couldn't we create a place that wasn't just for Stargate, but kind of with everything else, whether it's Firefly fans or Orville fans, Farscape fans, and could we actually build this kind of Stargate Command bit like for everyone? And so, yeah, that's basically what we are. I mean, a really simple, crappy way of saying it is hopefully we could be like the Netflix of entertainment, sci-fi writing, basically.
That's awesome.
Wow. Right on.
And our first glimpses at the companion are very, very exciting. And do you want to? I was watching for a members only stream. It was a VIP members only stream for with Brad Wright the other day, and Joe Malazzi popped on, and that was, I mean, wow, what amazing content, Lawrence.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean, we always try to think about, if there's a way we can bring something new, I guess, to the table. I mean, like I watch all the Travelers and Stargate and everything else, and that's really great. I think one of the things is whether it's for Joe or Brad or anyone else, how do we get them to even like open up and talk about something different than the kind of standard 5-10 questions that might be, asked at a convention or other places. And so with Brad, I mean, the first time I met him about maybe a year ago, just under a year ago, we didn't talk about Stargate one time. It was literally, we talked about Terminator Dark Fate, and if the budget was $40 million cheaper, it might have been deemed a hit, and how that could have spawned like 2 or 3 more films. It was around Marvel films. It was around Star Wars. What's the difference between science fiction and fantasy? Star Wars, huge debate around that. And so it dawned on me, these great sci-fi writers have so many different interests and they're fans themselves. Could we create a platform actually that allows people like Brad or Joe? And one of the other guests was Naren Shankar. He's one of the showrunners of The Expanse. Can we actually allow them to be able to write thoughts where usually if they're doing an interview, right? Usually if they're writing something, is probably part of like a studio press tour. You know, they're probably promoting their latest TV show or film. When does Brad get to talk about Marvel and how Ant-Man potentially could have killed Thanos like immediately? Those are the conversations.
Exactly. Yeah, go in his ear,
right?
trying to go big, and boom. Yeah,
Right,
I know.
exactly, right. So that was it was really fun, and it was, you know, ended up being like an hour and a half conversation the first time we spoke, and that's kind of like how we started thinking, okay, maybe we can create a platform for other writers like that we can you know, give them an opportunity to talk about something different.
Yeah, and Gap Stargate, for example, and Benjamin they were in there that chat with Brad, and that was an amazing chat. It was awesome. Now, a lot of people have asked Lawrence. I don't know. I've had conversations. So a lot of people have asked. So your choice to go subscription.
Yes.
So do you want to tell us why? So why did you guys choose that path?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something I think about like every single day, like whether it was the right choice or not the right choice. So my original background, about 10 years ago, getting into media, was actually as a YouTube original, invested in company. So Google invested $2 million into a soccer channel that I used to be a part of called Kappa 90. Great channel, football documentaries, kind of like the ESPN Sky Sports kind of thing. And to make money on YouTube, and I'm sure you guys having YouTube channels like understand this, it's so hard. And
yes.
And at VidCon, I think 2015, I gave a talk on how to make YouTube your full-time paying job. And I had calculated at the time, you needed about 42,000 views every single day to make California minimum wage. And I think at the time it was like $9 or something like that per hour. Right. Now, obviously, you have other revenue streams that kind of weren't existing back then. Right. So like Patreon was really new, and merch was probably still quite a new thing. There weren't merch stores kind of like easily available and those kind of things. And I'm not trying to dissuade anyone, by the way, by doing that. But it was it just became, you know, such a tough environment that if you didn't have a network, if you're kind of doing it by yourself, then really you have to use YouTube almost like for something else, like passion, you know, and build a community. And those things are really great. So when it came to the companion, we thought about lots of different models. We thought about, well, what if we made it free and it was pay what you want? And we almost launched that way. We spoke to the founder of Den of Geek, Simon Brew, the editor over here in the UK, Den of Geek UK, you know, Rosie. We've talked to people that worked at CNET. We talked to just across the board. And some people liked it. Some people thought we were crazy. Some people thought, you know, you're a little bit like a magazine, or effectively there's a million things. And we thought, look, let's go out right now with a subscription model, because at the very least, you'll be able to build some kind of community that basically cares about sci-fi, like is willing to pay for sci-fi. And I'm not saying, you know, people who don't pay for it, you know, it's invalid, but and then actually that money can be distributed to the writers and to the people who work for us. We're a small team. We're still we're only a team of 5. We were a team of 4 up until recently, but yeah, if we're looking to make a Netflix or an HBO kind of thing, hopefully for entertainment journalism, yeah, I think why don't we use their model? And if it doesn't work, we can think about something else.
So Lawrence, basically, unlike other article-based apps, when somebody clicks on an article, they're actually reading your article, not a copy and paste from AP or another source, right? This is actually directly from you guys.
Yeah, everything is original. Yes. Everything is a feature length equivalent of what a magazine would be. And so usually, I don't know if people are familiar with magazines, it's usually like 8-page spreads. So we have articles that I think our shortest one might be 2,000 words. Everything tends to be 3,000-4,000 words. Yeah, and I'm very happy to show some of these articles. We give some articles away for free all the time. Recently, as an example, it was awesome. Tessa B. Dick, the late wife of Philip K. Dick, wrote something for us around how Total Recall, I think they're just doing a remaster. So if you're in the UK, it's Studio Canal, and if you're in the US, it's Lionsgate. They just did like a 4K Blu-ray release, and apparently, according to Tessa, Total Recall captured the humor and the personality of Philip K. Dick, her husband, even though he obviously never had the chance to see it because he passed away way before then.
The article, in case anybody's wondering, on the site is called Paranoid Android, Philip K. Dick, Psychosis and Substance Abuse, Total Recall.
Well, that one is actually by one of the leading psychiatrists in the UK. Yeah, and so
Wow.
So we took a different approach to that in terms of how did his, I guess to a certain degree, potential drug use and mental health kind of affected, and actually maybe in some ways, helped him write some of the worlds that he created. But it's definitely, well, one lesson we learned was like you would never diagnose someone without meeting them. So it's definitely not a diagnosis, but it's just kind of showing, what potentially people who may go through psychosis and other mental health see or hear or experience things, and kind of saying, well, maybe this is how Philip K. Dick also experienced it as well.
So you get into the nitpicking, blood and guts of science fiction. Basically, it's like, the ship went here, but you actually explained how the ship went here. This character did this. You explained how this character did this, right?
Oh yeah. We have a lot of that. No, but we have lots of lore-based stuff as well. That I think that's the other thing where.
Some fans like that. Some of the hardcore nerd community is like, wait a minute, if they're doing this, why did he do it this way? What was he thinking? You guys actually cover some of that.
We do, yeah. So
yes, for everybody.
One of our I guess new writers. They were really a member from very early on. George, never written before, and he had this concept where obviously, if you know Stargate well, Jack ONeil. Whether you're Kurt Russell or the RDA version, right? It's ONeil or 2Ls, right? So it's and so the article is called "It's ONeil with 2Ls." But actually, what's interesting is this concept of Jack ONeil's fundamental character is straddling this line between loss and the loss of his son, and bringing humor, and basically like creating, maybe even saving the show in some ways, right? Levity. So this tension between loss and levity is really, I think, and really what George thinks of what SG-1 is all about. And so, he was a first-time writer. He submitted something. He said, look, randomly, I wrote this kind of piece, but, there's lots of interesting ideas. So, like over 2 weekends, I just worked with George over and over. I think we ended up doing like 12 different drafts, different angles. And the one through line effectively in SG-1 is whenever you had to prove, like if you went from an alternate universe or a different timeline, was the loss of Jack's son. And that's the thing. It's like, whoa, like other than Stargate Continuum, but ignoring that. So, but that's the thing that proves like, no, see, Jack, I know you in this life. And that is kind of the through line. And George, very powerfully, I hope he doesn't mind me sharing it. He writes it in his piece. He lost his dad, who brought him into Stargate. And so I think for a lot of people, Stargate kind of touches on a lot of things. Maybe it's a relationship with a daughter and a father, like with, Sam and her dad. Could be like Teal'c and his son. It's just fundamentally, there's a lot of things that kind of go through. I think that's what makes Stargate so great, right? And so, we talk about
Jackson and his career
and validation, I think, right? I mean, so many of us
Rodney
live life. Rodney McKay, he's an asshole. And then somehow he turns into probably one of the most sympathetic, empathetic characters throughout the whole series, right? Yeah.
That's why I love Atlantis.
Exactly. And so what we do with these kind of lore-based pieces is then we kind of pick out the kind of 8 or 10 episodes where if you rewatch Stargate SG-1, Children of the Gods, I'm going to forget the names now, Show and Tell, etc., right? And you kind of watch it that way. You can see effectively probably really with Stargate SG-1 in that story about 6 to 8 seasons worth, but just 10 episodes kind of sprinkled throughout Jack's evolution and how he deals with the death of his son and then kind of overcoming it. And I think it might be in season 7, episode 1. I'm forgetting the name, but effectively Daniel kind is that he kind of explains to them like, oh, you're like a changed person. He goes, yeah, you never forget, but you can kind of move on. And so, yeah, we kind of encourage people to do rewatches, but in different ways as well. So if you watch these 10 episodes, you actually might pick something else up. Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice.
Lawrence, before I forget, do you want to introduce the team of the companion? Do you want to talk about who they are, and can you?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of a random, almost like group of people. So Nick and I actually, for the last 5 years before starting the companion, we were a production company in studio for really mainly the BBC and MTV. And we did a lot of kind of BBC Earth travel photography, though BBC Three documentary style programming. So my first show, Mission Selfie, and please excuse the horrible title, it had two amazing kind of photography, Instagram, vloggers, Ben Brown and Steve Booker. We went to extreme locations like Iceland, El Hierro, which is one of the Canary Islands. Everything had to be basically done within a weekend to kind of inspire people to don't just like take a selfie, don't just go to a club, don't just do that. Actually go and live life. Go out somewhere, but you do it in a weekend. And so it made production insane.
Hey, Lawrence, sorry, I hate to interrupt you, but I just reminded me of this app I heard of where people just put it in and gives you random locations, just go explore. Have you heard about that?
Really? No, that sounds awesome though.
Yeah, I forgot the name of it. It's just you sign up. It's a free. I think it's a free app. You put your GPS location on your phone, and it gives you a random latitude, longitude, and you just go explore.
I love it. I mean, I was one of those people that used to do like geo hunting and stuff. If you guys are familiar with that,
I forgot. I'll look it up for you. Okay.
No problem. Yeah. So like, yeah. And so yeah. So Nick and myself, we're the co-founders, and that's our backgrounds. James, who joined us most recently, he used to be the editor-in-chief of Future Publishing, and one of his titles used to be Sci-Fi Now. So he brings so much credibility and so many amazing writers from the Sci-Fi Now days. But he does like lots of things, like history magazines. Well, I'm not going to do him justice because he looked after so much. Ben, who's on the team, he used to work at Shell as an analyst, a trading analyst. Very interesting enough. So very huge film fan, kind of joined. And then Tommy, he used to work at a hospital. He also did some internships and worked in marketing at Studio Canal. And he produced this really amazing podcast called On the Ward, which takes you inside St. Andrew's Hospital, which is one of the big, in fact, it's the biggest, I think, hospital outside the NHS in the UK. And, again, talked about music therapy, sports therapy, etc. And so, yeah, it's just really interesting. With this ragtag gang of people who all have like a shared passion for entertainment and science fiction. And so we gave it a punt, and we kind of started planning things like end of last year, beginning of this year. And so that's where we are now.
So when was the official launch? When were you guys actually considered to be launched? Was it September or was it October? Or?
Yeah, we were going to launch in September. But if I'm being honest, because we're a paid subscription, I really, really, I want to make sure we earn every single person like time, like especially now. I mean, you mentioned like COVID screwing up everyone's lives,
Right.
And it's so uncertain. Like if you give us 15 minutes of your time or 30 minutes of your time, like I want to make sure we earn it. And so even though we technically launched in September, we gave everyone that free month. So we technically started October. So yeah, kind of 2 months ago is when I would call us officially starting.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What is the how is the what's on the horizon for like from here to Christmas? Like the other day we had a very very cool event with online event with Brad Wright. Like what's coming up in the next from here to year's end, the next few weeks?
What I could do is I could show you actually a few things if you want, like on the
Yes.
app, and then I can kind of just describe like what's gonna
screen.
come. Yes, because stuff
Awesome.
happens like all the
Just
time.
share your screen.
So, yeah, so I'll do that. Sharing the screen now, and you guys hopefully can see this in a second or two. It's my little rescue dog right underneath the companion icon as well.
Oh.
You guys can see that. Okay. So this is the companion app. And as you can kind of see, we got like a content feed at the top. We have a dedicated one for Total Recall. I'll explain what that is, and a dedicated one for Stargate. So some of the things that we'll actually be doing is we'll start to go deep into various franchises. So hopefully, if members want us to do Star Trek, we'll do Star Trek. If people want us to do,
I saw the Red Dwarf.
Red Dwarf, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very happy to do that. It kind of works like hopefully all great apps. So at the bottom we have this bookmarks. So I actually created something to kind of show everyone. So at the very top, this actually early on we didn't realize how much people were going to love it, but it's kind of did you know? We want to make sure our trivia isn't trivial, and so we actually have a. So yeah, if you didn't know this, in Total Recall, the high-tech computers on the guards' wrists were just scientific calculators, actually.
That's awesome.
I did not know that. Thank you.
Right. And now you can't unsee it. Every time you watch the movie, you just
oh my gosh, that's true.
TI-81.
Can't unsee it.
Yeah. So one thing we have obviously are these kind of first-hand stories from people like Brad. This is just his announcement. But he has another piece that's, I think, 3,300 words. And I have to say, watching Brad edit on a Google Doc, like he had already submitted in, everything was done. It was like, 2,800 words. And then he's just like editing. We're like, Brad, stop. Like, this is like the fifth draft. What are you doing? He's like, no, I got to add another paragraph. And then he's just like, it was just like, whoa. God. So yeah, he's great. Yeah, we had the AMA with Brad. This is the Tessa B. Dick, searching for my husband in Verhoeven's movie. So there's this piece here. Tessa's really great. I mean, a side story on this, we do take random shots, to be honest, in terms of like, we have no idea if any, it's not like we're connected like in Hollywood, in that kind of way. So James emails Tessa the night before. He's like, hey, I'm going to take a shot, like, and see if she's willing to write. She responds back very quickly and very, very nicely, like, oh, yeah, like, I'll think about it. I think I remember liking Total Recall, and I have a feeling Phil would have loved it. And then the next morning, there was like a 2,000-word piece in her inbox already. It was like incredible.
Wow. Oh my God!
I think Philip was a fan of Piers Anthony to begin with. I think he did like his writing.
Yeah. I mean, well, in this piece itself, he talks about how, or sorry, not he, but she talks about how, obviously, Total Recall is very different from the book that it was based off of, but so many of the different short stories and books and themes of Philip K. Dick's kind of sprinkle throughout the entire piece. So I don't want to ruin it, but if you're basically a Philip K. Dick fan, Total Recall is a really nice encapsulation of several different stories.
Yeah, the psychosis behind it.
The
psychotic breakdown. Was it really a psychotic breakdown, or is it actually happening?
Right.
And so, there actually is a blue sky on Mars. It's an actual fact. There's a blue sky on Mars.
Yeah. So, Elihu, you alluded to this. Yeah, we have we have this piece here that's with the psychiatrist. We have originally commissioned artwork, so we were able to get
oh my gosh, I remember
Lori
that.
Petty for an interview, which is really great.
Wow.
This is also a really amazing story. In some ways, this like killed her career, right? Like this was supposed to be it. And if you actually look at the credits of Tank Girl, so many people from this from the crew, like Rachel Talalay, she went on to direct some of the best Doctor Who like Christmas specials that like are just so memorable. Costume designers, makeup artists, like they went on to win Oscars and Emmys. And at the time, it was supposed to be Laurie's kind of big coming out party, right? Because what did she just do? She just had Point Break. She just did A League of Her Own, and this is like now putting her, front and center. And it becomes this disaster. And that was one of the things where in the original interview, the first time we interviewed her, she told Anna that, the story of the kind of disaster. And so it's like, whoa, hold on. This might be the story, right? Like, imagine if you're really excited for this film and for the whole world to see. And then what happens that Monday morning meeting when it's like, oh crap, like no one went to go and see the film. And so Laurie actually very graciously we had a second interview with her. And so because of that, we commissioned Shaky Kane. He's kind of like a legend in the British comic book industry. And, on one side we have Tank Girl, Laurie Petty Tank Girl, and on the right side, Tank Girl. Shaky does some of the artwork for the kind of new Tank Girl comic series now. So, so this is an original piece. People love quizzes. I didn't realize. I mean, I knew people love quizzes from Stargate Command.
Yeah.
I took the Stargate quiz. I got a B-. Okay.
Right. I did too. So
I'm like B-.
Yeah, and so lots more quizzes will be coming, and hopefully we're probably gonna have to rebuild the system because people really liked it. But and
you guys quizzed Fred, right, the other night too.
We did. Yeah. He was open for that, so that was really great. This is actually quite cool. Being Orville Nation podcast. I mean, you guys probably know the story, but our first ever piece was with Rob Legato, the Oscar-winning VFX supervisor. And so we had the series called CGI Fridays, and we still have it. And Rob, he kind of cut his teeth. Well, I don't know if you guys know about Rob, but I think won his first maybe Academy Award on Titanic. He did one with Jungle Book. I think he won an Academy Award as well. But he's working on lots of stuff. The Departed, but he cut his teeth on Star Trek, The Next Generation.
He did Man?
Oh,
I
think he did.
Man? I think
he did. Yeah. If he didn't, what we were showing here is that the original model that ILM did was 6 foot, and so. Well, I guess from the story, he was shooting in his basement. And so obviously, if you have like a 6 foot model, you wouldn't be able to, actually do interesting shots. And so they basically reduced it down to 3 feet. And that actually gave you a lot more room to do camera angles and stuff. So if you look at like kind of early on, where you have the kind of original 6 foot model of Enterprise up top, very basic shots. I mean, they're beautiful, but you kind of have to use that kind of grand shot. Whereas if you look at Tin Man, it's way more dynamic because once you have like a 3 foot model, you could just do so much more. So we kind of break down things like that. And Rob was telling us that, but I don't know why I'm showing you text, but effectively this is part of the
hey, I do that on my show sometimes. Okay, there's tech here, and I was like, why is tech here? Let me talk about this.
I actually think it's good for you to show this because there's a lot of people who are saying to me like they can't, like they kind of want to see what it's like before signing up.
Oh, so yeah.
It's good for you to show it.
Yeah, we're gonna do a lot more. So there is a free trial.
I'm sorry. I have to interrupt you for a second. Unlike every other website, within 3 seconds, it is not a huge pop-up ad where you cannot get rid of it no matter what and finish reading the preview of the article. No, you actually get a chance to read some of the article, then you get to a little description of what this campaign is about. You're not blocked out. Trust me, this is what's great about this, okay, guys? It's a wonderful free preview.
Thank you. Yeah, one thing we're going to change, I don't know if this will be helpful or not, but we're going to try to do a little post-Black Friday Cyber Monday sale tomorrow. So it'll be 40% off. So
I saw that.
Hopefully it's like super cheap for everyone. Honestly, we're just trying to like do it so it's like $1 a week kind of thing. But it's really we pay every single one of our writers and artists and everything. And so yeah, I mean we're trying to be a professional as possible. So so your money really goes into the content. Like but yeah, according in the Orville, he talks about here. Seth MacFarlane really loved like Star Trek, and I'm sure you guys kind of know that.
Seth
And
Trek,
so,
yes, we love Seth Trek.
Yeah, and he asked Rob, hey, can you go back and make these models? He's like, yeah, sure, like for nostalgia's sake, let's do it. And he realized nobody in Hollywood knows how to do this anymore because all of his teams are CG based, and so he had to apparently put together a ragtag team to I mean, so they did it for nostalgia's sake, and he says like, yeah, I'll never do it again. So that's it. But Orville is going to have these, they have these beautiful models to work with. And
yeah, so, it's not all CGI. I remember last year when John Cesar showed us a picture of the Orville ship itself in the crate. So I'm like, yeah, it's a real model. I want that. Yeah. I want that.
Lawrence, do you watch the Orville?
I haven't seen the Orville. No.
Oh my gosh! Give me a nerd card.
No, I know. And it's one of those things.
Are you a Trekkie or not?
I watch some of it, but nowhere near the way that I've watched actually a lot of your YouTube videos, and I think the depth that you guys go into, I wouldn't be able to keep up.
I think PJ meant to ask you is, are you a fan of the TOS, TNG, DS9, Voyager, Enterprise? Not the new
stuff. If it was
those
things, it would be TNG. I definitely watched that as a kid in the
90s. Okay, because Seth likes to troll Star Trek on the Orville a lot. And of course, he's going to be trolling really hard in season 3. So if you like the original stuff, I highly suggest you watch the Orville.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things where I find myself. I mean, this is really terrible too. I've only gotten to episode 3 of The Mandalorian this season as well. I mean, it's the thing everyone's talking about, and every meeting I go into, everyone wants to talk about it, and I'm like, no, you're not allowed to talk about it. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm like literally
River Song philosophy. Okay, spoilers.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, honestly, you know what it is. When I'm watching television, anytime before 8 p.m., I honestly think, but if I spend another hour creating another quiz for everyone else, or if I just sent one more email to see if maybe Amanda Tapping wants to do the AMA next time, that's really what I fight with, like every single day. Like, and so
yeah, she's a good director.
Oh, she's phenomenal. Yeah. And so it's that tension of like, and I'm sure you guys have that too, right? Like, how do we make our shows better and programming better and everything? And so, you have no idea how much I wish I could watch so many. I think I watched like Supernatural up to like season 13 or whatever it was, and then the last 2 seasons, it was like I just got too busy, and I mean, so many things are happening, and
that brings up a good point, Lawrence. Do you guys are you guys looking to expand your team, to grow your team?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we're really open to partners, like partners like yourselves, and like we, especially like kind of, I almost call it YouTube generation 1 before there were YouTube channels. So I look pretty young, probably. I'm 39, and which probably surprises some people. I probably look like 26 or something.
You look younger. You look
do.
Whatever, right?
I thought you were like 14, man.
Right. And
I thought I was talking to some kid.
So like, my friends are these 40-year-old filmmakers who got onto YouTube, and kind of got famous. So, good friends, as an example, Matt and Dave from like Convos with My 2-year-old. They're in Vancouver. They're in tons of shows like The Flash and Supernatural, and they've been on Stargate and etc. And so it's actually kind of surreal meeting them, because I saw them on TV, and then I kind of see them in YouTube in real life. But that first generation, what's interesting was that it didn't matter if you had 2,000, like eventually when channels came about, 2,000 YouTube subscribers or 100,000 YouTube subscribers. It was like collaboration's the only way to go. And I think the reason why was because we were basically pushed and shunned out by television and film, right? And Hollywood. Like, they didn't respect anything that was out online. And so it was like, we can't compete with each other. We have to like help each other out. We have to collaborate with each other. If I know how to do visual effects, I will just do your visual effects for you. Like, it'll take me 2 hours versus you spending 14 hours, but help me out in some other way. Like, it's totally fine. And so even like today, now, we have a couple of partnerships. We don't want to, I can't talk about it now, exactly. But it's with one of the really big sci-fi magazines that unfortunately had to temporarily take a halt because corner shops aren't open anymore. So they have absolutely no distribution. And, one of the things I said was, hey, like, you've now inherited a team of 5. How can we help you? How can we make you a magazine cover? I've never made a magazine in this way, but James has. And I'm great with Photoshop. What do you want me to do? And so that's the way that I think we're going to be able to like kind of all get through this. So
yeah, everybody's switching to online platforms. So hey, go with the trend. Why not? Yeah. Here, we're available for you. Here's our app.
Exactly.
Nice little companion for you.
If we Lawrence, before you go on, Time Prophet, for example, was asking. He just came in. He was asking, what is the companion app? I really feel like what you guys are doing is, like you said, you talk about the Netflix model. It really like the most basic way to say it to me feels like you guys are just building a very special community. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I mean, we probably could do a way better job of it, to be honest, than what you guys are doing. But yes, I think the messages that we get, because of the type of topics that we cover, I think our next live stream, if we can actually get it right, is going to probably be about, why don't we get together and connect through sci-fi, but actually let's talk about things that aren't science fiction, if that makes sense.
You heard that, folks. Who said we're going to do a way better job than you are.
Continue. Go ahead.
Like effectively, as an example, like maybe loneliness through this pandemic, over the last 6 months. I mean, I don't want to obviously talk about any specific members or anything like that, but well, first of all, like, we can't go outside in the UK, or if we can, like, you want to be as safe as possible. And then similarly, people's jobs have been affected. There aren't new shows to look forward to. There aren't holidays to look forward to. There's a lot of things that we kind of, I guess, maybe used to have, and we kind of maybe taken for granted. Now that it's gone, it's like, well, how do we connect? And so why couldn't we, if we're all Firefly fans or we're all Stargate fans, let's come together so we have some kind of common ground. We even have like almost like stories and anecdotes that we can kind of talk about. But actually, and I don't even want to make it serious. Like, I think that's one thing we do, like an issue. We almost take things like too seriously sometimes with like, let's make it fun. Let's have an awesome, fun 1 hour where we hang out, go grab a pizza, get a soda, get a beer, whatever it is. And like, let's just talk about some stuff. And that is probably kind of like the really big next program that we want to start doing. And so I'll give you an example. And this is a good example of like why I don't think we're doing it as well as we can, but it was my intention. So let me go into an article as an example. And no one will be on this, but we actually have this function right now where you see where it's green up there, one online. It literally tells you who else is reading that exact article at that moment. And so this is obviously a really old article, so it's just me now. But that's the kind of thing where we thought if there were going to be hopefully more members or people reading it together. So one of the features is if you're a member, you can actually share this with your friends, like an article with your friends. We thought, when can you like kind of read an article or watch a Netflix show or whatever it is, but like actually like kind of talk at the same time? So there's a lot of coordination. Maybe this could work with an article of something that you love, like say a Stargate article or something. So if we can actually increase hopefully our membership base and people can kind of read things at the same time, then that's the kind of thing that we've been thinking about. So we build lots of things and sometimes it doesn't work. And
that is a wonderful platform. I'm sorry, that's a wonderful platform because just like YouTube, he's like, okay, there's so many people watch at the same time. You guys can always comment like on a live show. But an article, it's like you go to a newspaper article. Okay, you're reading this. Okay, you make a comment. So you got to wait. It's like, who's going to comment about this? I'm upset about this, or I'm intrigued about this. You got to wait for a comment. This is live interaction for article comments. I like this, man. This is a great platform you have.
Thanks. I'll give you another example. The Tape Crusader. This is an article that is on the soundtrack of Batman Forever. I think we still have it in here. Let me just check. But one of the things that we did was we stuck in, I think, a Spotify playlist, of the Batman Forever soundtrack. So here's another thought that we had, which is like, film and TV have soundtracks. Could articles have soundtracks? And like when you're at work, maybe you want to get in the mood, so you like put on like, you know, hit playlists or whatever, or if you're at the gym,
Yeah.
like workout jams.
Love it.
It's like, well, if I'm going to read something 30 minutes and it's going to be really serious, like maybe there's a soundtrack that could like help me get into the mood. If I'm going to read something on Blade Runner 2049, like I've got to get
That's
that kind
excellent,
of
Lawrence.
So-
Lawrence, I love that. That's excellent.
Yeah,
that
so
is
we're
excellent. It's very
testing
unique.
testing these kind of things out. One thing about this, so if the question is like, what is different about the companion? So Josh, who wrote this article, he fed back, which is whenever journalists usually like pitch a story, usually what they do is they have like kind of a crappy sacrificial lamb. Then they have like hopefully the story that they want to write, but and hope, you know, 50-50, you know, the publisher will choose. And then they usually throw in a crazy idea that they've always wanted to write, but they haven't really thought it through because no one would ever go for it. And we almost only choose those ones. So when he's like, oh, hey, like I don't even remember what he pitched. It was like, oh, how about this? And then we have this other idea, or like, you know, Batman Forever soundtrack. It's like, yes, write about the history of the Batman Forever soundtrack. And he's like, oh crap, I don't know anything about the music industry.
Time to learn.
Yeah, and
hey, your idea, man.
Yeah, but no, but that instance, it's like, you know what? If you don't know, like, we're a team. And so I knew someone who used to work at Universal Music. I don't think that was Universal Music. I think that was like a Warner Music probably soundtrack, and that's fine. But he probably has a friend, and so it just became this like hoop of a hoop of a hoop. And so, you know, those are the kind of things that work. And is let's do the impossible. Let's do something crazy. You know, let's, you know, that's how we got in contact with Shaky. I didn't know him before, but I had a friend who made a comic book, and they knew someone who knew you know, and then eventually, you know, we found Shaky. So yeah.
Lawrence, for kind of the top of your funnel, are you guys going to be? How are you going to be utilizing your YouTube channel?
Yeah, so with our YouTube channel, we're definitely going to have
because that's a good way to attract people, right?
Yeah, definitely. So we'll have like lots of clips from the AMA. We would love to start to do more little mini documentaries. One of the things that exists, I'm happy to talk about, is when Stargate Command finished. And by the way, we have only positive things, and it was a good working relationship with MGM and everything. So it wasn't like bad, but it was unfortunate when it shut down. Is that we did shoot lots of stuff, but it's all very raw. Obviously, nothing was really edited. So this were things from Comic-Con and Gateway and other places. So I would love if we can get a little bit bigger and more interesting for studios like MGM to be able to go back to them and say, hey, we've done half the work already. Can we bring some of these things back? You know, and if we become a good enough platform, that'd be great. The other thing is we love partners like Gateworld and Darren, you know, over there. And so we're going to actually probably do like a nice special cut of the AMA, like a really significant, sizable thing. So yeah, Stargate fans can see what we were up to with Brad there. So yes, we'd love to probably grow our YouTube channel and everything else. But to be honest, I think people like yourselves are doing a great job. And so if we can keep working with you guys, I never imagined, the companion to have 1 million subscribers or anything like that. I'm very happy if you guys grew to that, and if we can help push you guys along that way, that would be great.
Lawrence,
we would love to support you in any way possible. Yeah.
Lawrence, since the companion is basically fan based, is there a section, or do you guys plan on saying, hey, what do you guys want to see future articles or future stories on the site? Would you take those into consideration, since basically it's, hey, fan generated?
Totally. Oh yeah. So one thing I should probably, so number one, yes, and we ask people this all the time. We kind of have like fortnightly updates, but we're going to do them much more frequently. To be honest, I think 10 people consistently ask for stuff. And so we literally write for these 10 people. And so, and we have more members than 10. So if you're a member and you're like, hey, this is like whack, like, why aren't you writing about my fandom? Dude, tell us. we literally commission by what you say. And so one thing that's interesting, as an example, Merching for the Truth. This is our XFiles piece, 33 minutes. So this is like probably a 4,000 word piece. One thing I would love to do is work with Jim, this guy here. He's putting together a real life XFiles museum based in New York. So,
oh wow.
And but unfortunately, COVID hit. So he's a huge collector. You can read his story here, but effectively he basically originally had addiction and it was like ruining his family. And he decided to basically use XFiles as a new addiction, but a healthier one. And he started collecting. And Jim then started collecting so many things, and he started becoming, I guess, quite famous within that community. Chris Carter sent him. So we have this like photo of these like huge trucks of props and memorabilia that Chris Carter actually sent. And then COVID hit. And then so that's one thing that we would love to do, which is like, can we work with Jim and help digitize this and like turn this into a museum for XFiles? And then why couldn't we then just expand this to almost create like a virtual sci-fi museum? And when you talk about...
I actually have an idea, Lauren, so you can probably toss to him. Take some stuff and take like a roving little XFiles tour for the nerd community.
I think that's what he's doing. Like, so people can actually go and visit the museum, like in New York. I was just thinking, and maybe this is just the international side. So even though I was born and raised in Southern California, but like my parents are from Taiwan, and then I live in London. And I actually even this is a really bizarre story, but I actually lived in India for a little while. I started a Bollywood fashion company. So I've kind of lived all around the world, and it's like I always think about that kid in Mumbai who he can't go to New York. Like literally, he'll never be able to do it. Like, can we actually be able to help him and connect something with him with PJ, and with all of you and YouTube and all these things are like the way to do it. And so when you mentioned, are you going to get the community in to write something or to contribute? That's when it hit me. What was an XFiles fan like in India? What was their actual merchandise and memorabilia? What was the person in Sweden like? What does it look like in France? And so actually part of this museum, I think would be really cool, is allow all the users from around the world to submit like, oh, I have the XFiles mouse pad, but this is the mouse pad in the US. Oh, you have the one in Sweden. Well, what does that look like? I'm really curious. And so
different marketing had different images. I agreed on that. Yes.
Right. Exactly. And that'd be so cool. So those are the kind of things that we're starting to think about in terms of, and I mean, this is a technical challenge that I've been working on in the back of my mind. And so, those are the things where, man, if we can kick off 2021 with that would be awesome.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then, so, and then that would be, those are the kind of things where we're starting to think about, well, that would probably be free for everyone. And so maybe what we do is, behind the scenes, it's like these 4,000 word articles. But obviously, if it's like a community membership type thing, then let's put some of those things in front of the paywall. And then that way we're able to maybe create something better. And maybe if we do get big enough, I do have this idea where maybe it can be free and maybe it is a bit more of like a Patreon model. I'm not against that at all. I was probably just a little bit too scared, to be honest. But that's where we're kind of at right now.
I mean, if these articles are generally coming from the nerd community itself, not from producers who are trying to make a living, extra buck, trying to promote their name and stuff, just from the hardcore nerd community, nerds are going to gather. Trust me. We're going to congregate.
Yeah. And to be fair to all of like the people like Brad and Joe and everyone else, like they don't charge us money or anything like that. They do it because they love it, because they're genuine fans. So
exactly. Look at Joe stuff on Mondays. How much is he getting paid to show up and talk about Dark Matters? His favorite show?
Right.
I mean, they love doing this. It's the actual proof's like, hey, we're nerds. We're fans.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to. So, Lawrence, let me ask you the question that some people are might be thinking when they're watching this or watching it on the rewatch, on the replay. What happens when the companion gets huge? Are you guys going to be true to your values, or are you guys going to shill for? Now, I think shilling is okay as long as it's not against, like, as long as you're shilling because you love what you're doing.
Sorry, can you actually explain what do you mean by shilling? And I'm very happy to answer it.
I'm sorry, you don't understand.
Let me join. Let me just introduce our friend and sci-fi author Kai, who's been waiting in the back.
Oh yeah.
Hey Kai.
Hey everyone.
Hi.
I haven't been waiting. I just got here. It's okay. Nice to meet you, Lawrence. Fallon,
Hey,
great to stream with you finally. Lawrence, so I've been listening in. I kind of woke up to the stream already happening, and then partway through realized I had an invite in my inbox. So, where do I find the companion app? Is it a website? Is it on the Play Store? Like, where do I go? Because I'm curious, but
Yeah. I mean, we have a website, thecompanion.app. I would love to have thecompanion.com, but I think it costs $14,000. Someone's cyber squatting that. So to answer PJ, when we get huge, I'm going to buy that domain name. That's probably the first thing. But
and I did put it in the chat for everybody. So
nowhere near that. So yeah, there's that. We are in the App Store. We're in the Play Store. We don't have very good. I don't know. I guess they call it app SEO. That's something I don't really know a lot about. So if anyone can help me do that, because if you try to search for the companion, you're just not going to find it. You probably have to search for like the companion sci-fi, or like link it from our website. So look, hopefully as nice as it looks, like it's very polished and everything else. We do come from like a design and television background, but and I used to be a programmer, but we could always use help. So if anyone's smarter than us, please help us.
I also have to mention there's a huge large letter say no clickbait, no ads. Hello,
no ads.
people.
That's right.
No ads.
That's
no
a really nice
ads.
one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have to mention that.
Yeah.
Lawrence, let me ask you
go ahead.
Let me ask you for somebody who's like a young author like Kai here, who's just putting out his first book. Like, what for content creators? What is the appeal? Are there ways to collaborate? Are there ways to how do the young creators fit into the companion community?
Well, I think what was interesting that kind of came out of it from the Brad Wright AMA was that it was almost like a masterclass in writing, right? Like
it was.
I was really surprised how in depth he went into, and that's why I wanted to ask him more about.
I thought exactly that, Lawrence.
Right, and so I mean to kind of summarize for everyone who wasn't a part of it, he basically talked about how he doesn't outline; he just starts to write. And he has these characters, and he has the kind of setting and stories kind of in his mind. But earlier on in his career, he probably outlined quite a lot. And so I wanted him to show us his process of writing the difference between Stargate and Travelers, as an example, because there's so many rules in his article, The Rules of Stargate. And I wanted him to like show us a photo. Like, if you have all these rules, is it like Post-it notes? Is it like a whiteboard? And Brad said, "Nah, man, it's just in my mind. it's just in my head, and then I write it." But him having written for 30 years of television, like, it's easier. And so, yeah, I think we would probably start to love to do like more things like that. And I know James, as an example, he's a phenomenal writer. Like, if we can do more and more of these kind of live streams and hangouts and everything, if people want it, we're really happy to do it. I mean, if you want to know how to make a TV show, I'm very happy to teach people literally the ins and outs. What's the difference between a UK broadcaster versus pitching to the US? I couldn't tell you how to make a scripted show, so I wouldn't be able to teach you drama or comedy, but I can tell you what I know. If you want to make a documentary, very happy to tell people and teach people that. Like, I think this is the thing. It's not a zero-sum game, if you know what I mean. It's not like if you get a show, I don't get a show. Like, it doesn't. It's all like luck and hard work and working together. And yeah, so Anyway, that doesn't really answer your question very well. But
It's called a co-collaboration, basically, right?
Yeah.
Everybody works together. Yeah. How do you benefit? I'm going to benefit. Win-win situations. Yeah. You want to benefit? Okay. Come on. Let's do this together.
Yeah. And to be honest, the reason why we had this idea called the Academy, we wanted to actually create something like that, and early users didn't want that. They didn't want an academy, so we didn't do it. If people want it now, I'm very happy to figure that out. So I don't know if like our members realize how much we listen to them. If you troll, and people don't troll or anything, but if you say something silly, I will take that on board to try to understand what you're trying to say, and then I just don't do it, or I'll do it, whatever you're actually saying. So, and I'm sure as content creators, you guys get that. So,
kind of like what about that bad sci-fi, bad science?
yeah. I mean, people early on was like, oh, everyone in lockdown's like doing like, workshops and academies and stuff. Like, you don't need to be doing that. I'm like, yeah, all right, we won't do that then. And then we just didn't do it. So,
yeah, people tell me, hey, you should do I'm like, I've been doing shows and reviews and science and comedy, sci-fi shows and TV shows. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. Everybody else is doing it. I'll do my own little thing.
Yeah. But if you DM me, like, I'll write you like a 2,000 word email, like what you did. Like, I probably spent so much time on those kind of things, like ridiculous, or like typing DMs and stuff. It's like, what, dude? Just like, let's arrange a Zoom call. It's easier. So
right.
Yeah, too much to type. I'm like, hello. Ow.
Yeah. What's the best way for, like, for example, everybody on the panel here has a channel. What's the best way for us to support you right now, Lawrence?
Honestly, it's if you can just help make people know like what we are, and if you guys don't have memberships, by the way, I can definitely sort you guys out, read some stuff, share it. I have no problem if you guys read it and go, you know what, I love this story, and you guys talk about some of the stories that are on the companion. We're very happy to try to facilitate the journalists or myself coming onto your channel as well to talk about those things. I mean, that's probably it, because I think my biggest thing is I just wish more people, well, I want to find a sustainable model to allow people to pay people, pay our writers, but then also as many people to read these things as possible. And I should
go ahead, Kai.
Well.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I got a question for you, Lawrence. I'm looking at your app right now, and it's only got 7 reviews, but you have a much larger user base. Do you prompt your users like, hey guys, we could really use some reviews because it'll bump us up in the search, Or is that that can be obnoxious?
Yeah, we did that early on, maybe like the first 2 weeks. So one of the things I said at the beginning, Kai, that it might be my own problem. Like, I wish I was probably more of a used car salesman approach, but I'm not. And it comes down to anytime people spend with us in the companion, like, I feel so grateful for it. And so we really want to earn every notification. Like what Elihu's saying, literally we have no ads, no clickbait. And so, yeah, I mean, there's that tension of like, are you advertising yourself or are you advertising the work? So that's like one thing I'm like very okay with.
Well, let me pause you there, because I think as much as I appreciate that mentality, and I feel very much the same way. And anytime someone tells me, hey, I bought your book, I'm like,
yeah, exactly. So that's what I mean. I'm happy to plug everything you guys are doing. I'll read the book, plug the book.
Hold on. What I'm saying is I still need reviews to move up so that other people who aren't familiar, when they see, they go, oh, this has good reviews, and then they're more inclined to check it out. And if you go, hey guys, like users, like, I know you guys use this app a lot. We don't have ads, but we could use a review. Just you don't even need to type anything. Just leave a star rating somewhere, because people who are using the app, you have a lot of users, like, they like using the app. They appreciate it, and they appreciate what you bring to the table. And so simply asking them to help you out a little bit, just in terms of letting people know what they think of it. It's not much of an ask. And honestly, as a user, if I appreciate something, I'm happy to leave a review. So it's not a bother at all to your users if you once in a while ask.
Cool. Well,
good point.
I'll definitely do that. Yeah, I'll definitely do that. And
if any
bump
you up in the search.
Or how about like a general rating, like a page, like, hey, what do you guys think of the companion so far? And like a blank space, like any improvements, and like a link to like, hey, share a rating on this as well, something like that.
Yeah. Well, one thing we're gonna start next week, or I've already started writing the first draft, is we'll have like much more daily and weekly updates. So we're gonna kind of tell everyone what's going on, and then maybe we'll slip in hey, if you can give us a 5-star rating or
Good
2,
idea.
that'd be great.
Yeah, literally, it's something you can just tack on to the end of like emails to just put it at the thing. Like, here's something you actually want to read. Okay, now that you're done with that, by the way, if you want to leave a review, that's cool too.
Yeah, what do you think of this article? What do you think of this page? Yes or no? Yeah. People's like, hey, what do you think about this? Instead of just have an open space for comments. Like, what do you think about this? Then let people actually talk in the comments. Like, okay, I like this, I didn't like this. Because you said yourself, you can tell how many people actually reading the article at the same time you are.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's good advice. And I think early on we probably had more iPhone users or iOS users than Android. So I think we have maybe like 40 or 50 ratings like in the App Store. So, but
Nice.
no, we'll build up the Play Store for sure. Because
Lawrence, I want to communicate specifically because there's obviously a lot of content creators in the audience and the replay here. For any of us, any people who are doing YouTube, if we want to, reference an article from the companion, you're okay with us taking, because it's a subscription service. That's the reason I'm asking. Just to be clear, you're okay with us taking screenshots and then using it on YouTube and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, I mean, email us. We'll like give you like high-res images or something if that's what you want. Yeah. Oh yeah, especially because I didn't get to it in the app, and I'm very happy to screen share again. We do have stuff that no one's ever seen for 25 years. I mean, John Gadecki, he was a early VFX supervisor on SG1 in Atlantis. Super nice guy. He literally found this hard drive of like 25-year-old hard drive of photos never before seen, and we released them. We gave some gave some to Gate World. Like, yeah, great. I mean, that's the kind of thing we're doing. So if people can keep supporting us, we can keep getting literally things that people have never seen before. And yeah, we have like weird ideas on how to get stuff. So
just to be clear,
like weird ideas how to get stuff.
Just to be clear, people who are doing YouTube, go use the companion app for content and for any topic that you want. They're open for even if it's you're using something from the subscription service. They're okay with you taking still images and using them on YouTube.
Just please put the companion app information in your description when you do this, so people know where to go, where you got the stuff.
That would be fantastic.
Yes, please do.
Yeah.
Yeah, cite the source. Thank you. I'm not awake yet.
Yeah.
I do want to ask Kai real quick. Is there any updates on your novel? Any updates on your publication?
Sorry, I don't know what you mean.
Are you like? Are you going to be signing books at Barnes and Nobles next weekend or something?
Oh, I don't think they're open in my area. First of all, second, I need to get it on Ingram Spark before I can start getting it in bookstores and stuff. I need to do the ebook, and I'm partway through on getting in on Ingram Spark. I was like halfway through the process. It was a lot of filling things out, and I said, okay, I've been at this for a couple hours now. I have other things to do. I'll be back. And so I haven't gone back yet. But,
oh my gosh.
That's where I'm at. I'm partway through on Ingram Spark, and I still got to do the ebook.
Awesome.
Sorry for not understanding the question.
No. It might be my fault.
I think we all feel like that, Kai.
I take the blame.
Oh wow, I'm not awake.
Honestly, Lawrence, the companion app, I'm a little tight right now, but it does. So I'll look into it more later. But I do like all the trip, like the quizzes and stuff, all that, like kind of deeper information. I do a trivia show, so like anytime I can get like cool info like that I can drop into a question, then I'm happy. So for me, that's
Yeah, for example, the Stargate trivia quiz that I got to be minus on.
Yeah.
It's not general trivia. It's like, what powers an Aqueduct? NEO. I'm like, oh shit. Oh yeah, it was the the vacuum thing. Yeah, it's very technical. The answer, the questions, multiple choice, very technical questions. I'm like, wow, this is actually some good stuff. It's not. Who played Rodney McKay? I'm like, okay, that's a general question. Come on, please.
Yeah.
I just had to think about this stuff.
The quizzes probably won't take about as long as, like, say, a shortish article. Like I could probably write an article, like a 1,000-word piece. Not that I write anymore, but if I did write, in a couple of hours, I think a quiz probably takes the same amount of time. One of the things that and this is my own personal bugbear, I don't really like quizzes where it's so black and white. Either you remember the episode and you've memorized it, or you don't know it, because I don't memorize television that way. And so, but what I do like to do is, okay, I want to give everyone a shot. Is there two different ways to be able to almost answer the question, where a really bad example of a quiz question would be like, this large planet in our solar system is also the name of the blah 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 in this in this TV show. So it kind of gives you this. Oh, okay. Well, if I know science, I have a chance, or if I know the show, I have a chance. But if it's an episode blah 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 of this show, what did this person hold? It's well, unless I've seen it, which is, there's so many books and so many shows out there. It's insane.
Well, the Rodney McKay one was multiple questions. Which actual scientist did this? And you had Neil deGrasse Tyson do this. Bill Nye do this. Bill Nye do this, and Brian Greene do this. Mike Ray. I know Brian Greene wasn't in this, but there's two Bill Nye questions. What exactly did he say or do? Oh shit! I got to think about this.
Right. So one thing I try to do sometimes is
I just go waste the answers. Oops, sorry, never mind.
What I'll do is I'll actually find real scenarios within the show, but I just change the character up. So, it's not this doctor, it's this doctor. It's not this scientist. So you kind of will remember, or at least oh yeah, I remember this thing happening, but I don't know if it's exactly who it is. So, obviously not every single question could be that perfect Jeopardy style question, but no, we do try to mix it up a little bit and hopefully make it more fun that way. Because really, I just want to encourage people to almost rewatch the show or rewatch a specific episode, and so yeah, that's a good example of that as well.
Yeah, it's not black and white questions.
Right.
Which is good.
Tricky.
The studios are going to love you if you're inspiring people to rewatch stuff.
Yeah,
I hope so.
Yeah.
One reason why we actually did the Total Recall feed and what we're doing now, other than it being great, is that Studio Canal and us have just entered into a partnership. So there was a different partnership I couldn't really talk about, but we will soon. So with Studio Canal at the moment, what we're trying to actually work out is, how there's not really a home anymore for DVD and Blu-ray extras. Obviously, the DVD and Blu-ray there is, but when usually they sell their shows to Amazon or Hulu or Netflix, you don't sell that part of it. And so you have these really amazing making of documentaries that, unless if you happen to own the collector's edition, just doesn't exist. So that's one thing we want to work with people like Studio Canal and bring a documentary of the making of these films to light. So kind of in the beginning what I'm saying, the Netflix for entertainment journalism, let's say, this is another way of us doing that. And so, hopefully we can get that going. But obviously there's lots of things in terms of rights and who owns this and, things that I'm very happy to have meetings on. And that's what I do. And having had my own show and negotiate my own IP, sadly, with the BBC lawyers who are excellent and have law degrees.
BBC, I'm so sorry, man. So sorry to BBC, dude.
So that'll be something coming up soon.
Lawrence, do you ever see the companion? How do I say? Generating any original content an original show, an original production of any sort?
We no. I think the short answer is no. I mean, I don't want to say no for everything forever, but that's what Nick and I used to do. And I think what it is, this is really a celebration of fandom and the celebration of what we grew up with. And so I do think what is possible would be let's not use Stargate as an example. Like, it could be anything else, but like, I don't think it's crazy for us to help a canceled series come back in a different form, like a comic book, like, you know, it's been done before. I don't think it's crazy where if a show, okay, well, this is not happening, okay, but to use a solid example, like, you know, kind of like Stargate Atlantis, like, for example, right? It doesn't exist anymore. Hey, if I can help raise $8 million to go make the Stargate Atlantis straight to DVD like film that's been rumored, that's kind of out there, I'll do that. That's fine. That's what the companion does. But
I just hope they answer the fact that the map projected to Hawaii, but the land in San Francisco Bay with no flooding the city or anything like that. Nobody knows what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, bad science and science fiction.
Well, if you were at Comic-Con, I think it might have been last year, Joe and some of them did do a table read from a script, I believe, of that what would have been the Stargate film. So I don't actually remember exactly what was in there, but I think it might be on Gate World or something. But you can actually kind of know if Atlantis is still in the Bay Area or not. So,
Oh my God.
from memory, I haven't read in a while. But,
there's no seagulls floating on an empty thing just laying right there in midair. Come on.
Yeah.
I look at the water all the time when I go down there.
But yeah, I mean, going back to the point, it's the reason why we named ourselves the Companion. Like, we thought about naming ourselves the Signal because we liked Firefly and you can't stop the signal. And we thought about naming ourselves this and that.
Broncos unite.
Yeah. And in the end, we chose the Companion because I think it's two things. One, we want to be the perfect companion for the show creators, and we want to be the perfect companion for fans. And so I think creating something original probably isn't in our kind of roadmap because it doesn't.
I
really
love I love the name, and I think it's actually very appropriate. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah.
I saw the Companion, but no offense, but I saw Companion and thought, Doctor Who?
Oh, yeah. Actually, this is like really random. In my building, I won't name who, but
what?
Is a Doctor Who companion. Is that
nice.
It's just, crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that's cool.
I didn't grow up with Doctor Who, but I was told this, and I looked it up. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Do not say male to protect the person's identity. Do not say male or female. Just say companion.
Yeah. But hopefully, he or she will maybe come onto the Companion one day, and you know, live up to its namesake.
Speaking of Doctor Who, check this out. I ran into this guy 2 blocks from my house.
Oh wow!
Oh, that's awesome.
You can't tell who that is.
Capaldi.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's a fun fact people really don't recognize about Capaldi.
Oh, I see him now. Okay.
Yeah, the Sonic Shades. Those are his personal sunglasses. Yes.
That's awesome.
I even made that comment to him, like, "Well, you got your shades on." I was like, "These are mine."
Lawrence, before we wrap up, is there any? Again, tell us where. Tell 2 things. Tell us where people can find your content, and what is the best way to sign up, and tell how what kind of collaborations are you guys looking for, and how can people collaborate with you?
Yeah, so you can find us at thecompanion.app. That's our website. That's pretty easy. It's the same thing on Instagram and Twitter, the Companion app.
It's up in the chat, so you guys can scroll up.
In the chat as well.
I'm going to post it again.
Okay. We've got an iOS and Android app, so it's all there. And to sign up, starting next week, we're going to start a new promotion. It'll be 40% off. I think it's actually just going to be a day, Cyber Monday. So hopefully some of you can take advantage of that and get on. Otherwise, we'll probably have a couple more free trials and things like that for you to check it out. I'm going to actually... Certain articles are already free. They're just not very signposted very well, and so that's like a technical challenge that I have to get over. So that we'll be promoting those. Usually, you'll see them on Twitter, and our Facebook and Instagram, and those kind of things. So you could always read something. These will be 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 word articles that are really deep stories, hopefully that you've never heard before. Oftentimes, they might even be written by the filmmaker or the author themselves. And how do people collaborate? Well, we do take submissions. If you are a writer and you have a great idea, particularly if it's an idea around some kind of fandom that's underserved, that doesn't get a lot of love or heat. As an example, Farscape, Red Dwarf,
Dwarf.
like
Red Dwarf. What's a Red Dwarf? Red Dwarf.
Yeah.
What's a dwarf? I'm sorry, Lawrence. Give me a card. Give me a card, man. Come on.
Like Pitch James. He takes those. And then if you're a channel actually and you're building your own thing, which is great, feel free to invite myself. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to come onto your channel and chat just like this. But more importantly, we really want to be creating stories out there. So if you think anything that we're doing is news, or if anything we're doing is interesting to you, obviously credit us. If you need any kind of context or background info or images or anything like that, like honestly, let us know. One thing I didn't show you is we also built an infographics kind of thing. People didn't seem to like it, but it was like all of the box office like things around Waterworld. And so, so we have like those, we get, you're going to like, finance and analytics and those kind of things. So, so those things are all very happy to send and your way.
Wow. Guys, I'm sorry, cause I have to wrap up, but any final comments from Fallon?
Oh, no, I don't have any final comments. I said what I wanted to say earlier, but I'm really intrigued about this, and I'm glad you are willing to allow YouTubers to cover your articles in their videos. Like, that's one of the things I do in my own channel, which is great. I'm going to, at a later time, I'll have to get a subscription. I noticed that y'all had 2 different kinds, depending on price.
I think it was just either monthly or annual. So
it's weekly and annually.
And just so everybody knows, I saved a lot of money signing up for the whole year, and I think it's a good
That's
idea.
usually how it works.
Yes, if you sign up for the year, you get a discount. I closed the page on how much the difference was, but it's a difference. So it's easier, basically, if you want to save some money, buy the annual subscription, or test it out for a week. You get 7 days free. So hey.
That's true.
Kai, any final comments?
No. Well, I'm sorry I was tardy. I didn't realize this was happening.
No. It was. I just last minute I decided to invite you because we had room. So thank you for joining us, Kai.
It was my pleasure. But I love the app, man. It looks good. I want to see you succeed. So. Yeah, man. If I'll keep tabs on it, and if there's anything I can do to help out, then I'd be happy to. And if I do I don't do like what most people do with the covering articles and stuff. I do a game show. So if you want to come on the game show and have some fun and talk about the app a little bit, then yeah, man, I'm down.
Yeah. Maybe I can run a little pub quiz or something.
We can collaborate on it. This category is brought to you by The Companion for Sci-Fi.
Exactly. And rate us 5 stars on the Play Store.
Hell yeah. I feel so like brotherhood right here. You got 5 stars with 7 reviews. I've got 5 stars with 6 reviews. Like
we're right there. It's a race now. It's a race. No.
Who can get to 10 first?
That's
thank you, Lawrence. Thank you again so much. Anything else that you would like to add before we go, Lawrence?
Yeah, the only thing I want to add, well, first of all, is thank you, all of you, for like just listening to me like talk for an hour.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. And when you messaged me, like, we got to get you on, to a pod, I was really stunned and surprised. I honestly don't think people like know us or know anything about us. So
well, now they do.
Great. Yeah. No,
I just wish I had a bigger channel, Lawrence, because if we could, but someday the thing is, very soon our channels will be bigger and we'll be able to support you better.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I mean, so honestly, 10 people listening is already 10 people more than that knew about us before. So those are the kind of things. It's awesome. It's really great. So thank you guys.
And it looks like you're going to get an invitation to the slant. So,
Well, I mean, Polly technically just did it himself.
Hey, I told you to come over here, right? Latino Slant earlier, didn't I?
all right, guys. Well, thank you. I want to thank Latino Slant in the chat, the Time Prophet, Gap Stargate, Lord Thoth, LDG, Jitsi. Jitsi's going to be coming on on Latchcom in a few hours. Benjamin, thank you. Benjamin is a member of your crew, Lawrence?
Yeah. He's he's our analyst. Yeah.
Awesome. I want to thank everybody who has been in here before. Adega, Bird, everybody who's been in here. Thank you, guys. Everybody stay safe. Thank you again, Lawrence and panel. Everybody have an awesome, happy Sunday. Thank you, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Catch you on the flip side.